Now we move on to the second half of the debate, of course, the closing of the debate here. What we are expecting more is a little bit more rebuttals and refuting of the information provided by the openers. Some new information can be added, but only by the third speakers. And of course, the fourth speaker, last but not least, are not allowed to bring in new information in the debate, but of course only discuss the issues that were put on the table. So the member of government to open the closing of government, please welcome Rolwa Masule.
Good morning, House at Large. Allow me to stand in the protocol already observed. My name is Rolwa Masule and I am member of Team Government. And what we are trying to make the House understand is that putting more weight on achieving price stability at the risk of plunging the country in recession is the goal. And I just want to point out the team opposition was selling a dream it's basically a dream and it's not facts. Reason being that if we look at Namibia as a country, 80% of Namibia survives 80% mainly on imports. Meaning that if you go in a store right now, most of the things that you find there are not Namibian. By saying that alone, we already say that most of the things that are being produced in the country are not even reaching the stores because we are importing most of our goods. Another thing that our honorable members would want to add is that because of us basically having South Africa as an anchor, not only are we importing their goods, but we are also importing their inflation. If you take note of the recent looting that happened, there was no looting in Namibia, was there? Namibia is a pretty peaceful country. But if we look at the looting that happened a few months back, did it not affect us? It did affect us. If we look at the normal standard price of bread, basic bread, we have prices that rose from $9 to $15. Rejected? From $9 to $15. That alone is saying that what Namibians, we are basically importing inflations, making it harder for us to actually be able to afford the simple goods. And another point that we would also want to look at is the fact that they say that by us doing this creates more unemployment in the country. And that is complete lies. By us detaching ourselves from the anchor country, that provides actually employment for Namibia, because basically that means that we will be producing our own things and we will be selling them. They will be on the counters and you'll be seeing Namibian owned products there in counters that are also recognized by authorities of Namibia. And I'd like to continue reading further on the monetary. Basically Namibia has monetary policies. Monetary policies they are good in a sense. But the only issue, let us just be factual here. The only issue of why monetary policies and why we cannot fully grasp it is because our monetary policies depend on South Africa. So no matter how long we come here and discuss the monetary policies, it's because we cannot control our monetary policies. And another thing is that when we look at monetary policies is that they do targeting. We Namibians cannot do targeting because of what? South Africa. So if we continue to have South Africa, then we basically should remove monetary policies, because then it is not going to work for us because we are not controlling it. Another thing we want to also add, projecting, is no free monetary policy. This is basically the same.
While you're thinking, man.
Rejected. And another thing that we'd also want to touch on is that team opposition was talking about how we haven't touched on PEG, reason being that I was going to come and touch on it. Consequently, under the fixed exchange rate arrangement, a country cannot operate monetary policy independently from the anchor country, as this eventually disturbs the fixed peg through the workings of capital accounting. For instance, interest rates in the country fall below those in the anchor country. Funds will move immediately on a massive scale to the anchor country. The implications of the impossible trinity is that Namibia has limited monetary policy independence due to the fixed rate arrangement. Consequently, Namibia's monetary stance can deviate to some extent from that of South Africa, relying on transaction costs, other friction capital controls, prudential requirements imposed on banking and other financial institutions to the moderate capital movements in response to small differences in interest rates. This makes it possible for the Bank of Namibia to maintain a repo rate that is somewhat different from the repo rate of South Africa. When required, this thus allows discretion to control the domestic credit extension and money supply.
PIM.
Rejected. This discretion enables the Bank of Namibia to control domestic goods of Namibia. Thank you. That's
Speaker, you need to take at least one point of information, yeah? Please step back to the microphone. At least one point of information. It was asked within the time.
okay, 1 point of information accepted.
You say that we don't have control or we can't do effect targeting because we are pegged. But the CMA is literally a targeting agreement that will target our monetary policy to be in line and therefore fix our exchange rate. So how are we in a CMA agreement, but then here you are saying on stage that we cannot target things?
What you just said now, Speaker, is just on books. What the examples that I was giving affect is what we have seen, the looting. That's what happened. We are affected directly. We do not have control. Maybe if you may come up here and tell us, how did we have control on the looting that happened in South Africa? How did we control the pricing systems that have happened here? Thank you.